Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Truth About Marketing. I'm super excited. I got my man Rob Golden here. He's a former NFL athlete and he now is the founder of Golden Charter Academy, which is an amazing academy there in Fresno, California. Rob, thanks for joining us.
Man, it's an honor to be here, man. It's great to connect and catch up, that's for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, before we get started, we always do this with everybody, but we have this lightning round just to get the conversation going. And it's kind of 8 questions. We do it real quick, lightning style. And if we
Yeah,
start with that, is that good?
let's do it.
All right, here we go. So, first one, favorite business or marketing technology?
Definitely going to say it's Canva, man. I create all my social press, all my things that I need to get to the people's attention on Canva for sure.
Very good. Favorite social channel?
I'm definitely going with Instagram.
Use it the most. That's me too.
Yeah.
Least favorite social channel?
Man, least favorite, I'm going to say it's Facebook, but Facebook also helps me keep in contact with family. But if it wasn't for family, I probably had never go on Facebook.
Yeah. A lot of ads, a lot of junk on there these
Yeah,
days. All
yeah.
right, brand that you love.
Brand that I love, man. Tell you what, I love the Coach Prime brand, Deion Sanders, man. He's a guy that's very motivational, inspirational, but he's all about the youth, man,
Yep.
uplifting and motivating them, giving them opportunities. So, definitely going to say it's the Deion Sanders Prime Time brand for sure.
All right. And then brand that needs help or more visibility.
Brand that needs help or more visibility, man. I'll say it's probably Mel Robbins. The lady with the let them theory, she gives a lot of inspiration and motivation on how not to really consider the factors or the variables about what other people may think. But
Yep.
I think that needs a lot more brand awareness just because of gems that she be dropping, man. It's definitely gold, that's for sure.
Very good. Very good. And favorite business leader or influencer?
Favorite business leader or influencer? I'll have to say my favorite business leader may be, I have several, man. I got Inky Johnson that I think is a
Love Inky Johnson. His
very
story is
good
incredible.
leader and
Yeah.
entrepreneur with the work that he does. Eric Thomas is another one when it comes to the inspiration and motivational speaking. But then Jim Collins as well too is another, just with the flywheel and learning how to go from good to great. I think those are some of the people that I aspire to want to model some of the things that I'm doing after, that's for sure.
Very good. And then brand or person you like to work with the most?
Brand or person that I like to work with the most, I'm going with the Adidas brand, man. Adidas is a brand that is solely based on helping people and the planet become better. And I think a lot of the things that they are doing and are aspiring to do is something that I am leading from the local community context.
Yep.
So definitely going to say Adidas is one of those that I'll love to work with for sure.
Very good. Very good. All right. Well, you made it through that. So let's talk a little bit now. Like tell everybody like where you're from, how you got to where you
Yep,
are today.
yep,
Fresno, California, we weren't too far from each other, so
no
kind
doubt.
of exciting.
No, No doubt, man. Grew up in Fresno, California, man, and got the opportunity to become like the number one defensive back in the state when I was playing in high school ball. Got recruited to U of A, attended there, man, and graduated, bear down, with a degree in human understanding and social behavior. And from there, went off to the Pittsburgh Steelers, became one of the youngest team captains in the Pittsburgh Steelers franchise history. Did 6 years there on three different contracts. From there, went to the Kansas City Chiefs and was playing for that team. And just had this epiphany, man, that my life meant more than just being an athlete. So requested the Kansas City Chiefs to release me. Stepped into my purpose and developed the nation's first environmental stewardship zoo school in the nation in my hometown of Fresno, California. So been leading this work, man, for a little over 6 years now, and it's definitely been self-gratifying, not only for me but for the community and surrounding areas. That's for sure.
Yeah, man, it's been super cool to watch. I mean, obviously, Fresno, knowing the general Bay Area in California,
Yep,
Northern California, that is, Fresno is one of those areas that kind of gets slept on. There's a lot of kind of in that valley area, like
yep,
Stockton, et cetera.
yep,
So watching you bring life to it and really like a lot of positive change has been super cool. But
yep.
talk a little bit more about what that means as far as like an environmental stewardship. Because I think there's a lot of people that see or
Right.
hear about it and say, oh, like that's cool, they're working with the zoo. But what does that really mean?
Yeah, when we talk about environmental stewardship, it's really trying to figure out how we can conserve and nurture Earth natural resources. I think when we talk about the environment and communities, especially those that are underserved and underrepresented, man, there's a lot of things that gets forgotten about when you're going into those communities, whether it's air pollution, whether it's food apartheid that is happening, whether it's a lack of having enough habitats for natural species that is in the communities. But what we try to do from an education standpoint is tie all of our curriculum and units of study to some type of stewardship, civic engagement. That will not only help people thrive, but also help the planet thrive as well too. So our scholars, they learn about how Southwest Fresno have some of the worst air quality in the whole state of California. And something that they can do to help improve that air quality is plant more trees. So they planted trees. They help restore the monarch butterflies as they are on a decline just because of the nature of human impact. So
Yep.
we really try to look at some of the things that are going on from not only a community standpoint, but from a global standpoint. And we try to address those issues hands on with some of our scholars at the school to give them the opportunity to do the stewardship behavior that is ultimately going to help people and the planet thrive. So it's not just a education inside of a four-wall classroom type of experience, but it's taking what the kids are learning inside of the classroom and taking it to the community and being the difference maker right now.
And what was that like going through again, like accreditation and like
Yep,
getting recognition and again, like we are talking about marketing here and stuff, but like
yep,
you obviously had to sell and market this whole idea to a community, right? And then it was
absolutely.
government, there was all this red tape. So like walk us
Yep.
through that because you had to build a whole plan and a message and really sell this thing as it went up the chain before you could even get started. So
Absolutely, man. Yeah, it was definitely, creating a very strategic marketing plan was kind of a big piece to the puzzle of what we were able to do. I mean, obviously, having to go before school district boards, having to create my own board, having to go before the city planning commission and get an accredited school, public school that is in the city of Fresno, where Fresno Unified School District is the third biggest district in the state of California. Obviously, there was a lot of barriers that were there, but one of the things that we wanted to do was amplify our message. How can we get parents? How can we get school leaders and people that are in the education space to see that there was a need to shift the paradigm of what education was looking like?
oh,
Obviously, people get the opportunity to go to school and they've been going to school, and it's been this same cookie cutter model educational experience for years. I mean, ever since we were in school. But my goal
yeah.
was to be able to shift the paradigm of what school looks like on a day to day basis. And I had to create a messaging for why this school was needed. And if this school was to come to fruition, what it'll be able to not only do for kids, but do for our environment. So, built a marketing plan around that, a branding plan around that, and ever since then, man, things have been golden. That's for sure.
Yep, and I was gonna say I love that from a branding perspective. You're able to
Yep,
take your name and leverage Golden, and I think that's been fantastic because
yep,
I've watched it. Right, like you guys have come up with anagrams as far as like the G to the O to the L to D, like what
yep,
all those things stand for. You've been
for
able to
sure.
leverage it. I mean, visually, it's a great looking brand. All of that. Do you work with a team, or I mean, do you have a marketing agency? Like, what do you do for that, or do you have somebody like full time on staff with you?
For sure, man. It's a team of people that I work with. I have my videographer and photo team that is in-house. Shout out to Dustin Verzosa. That's my guy. Also my executive assistant, Jackie. She's the Canva master, so she knows how to make things look really well. But then my public relations team over at Talent Resources, they do a great job of not only keeping us visual from a local context, but from a national exposure context. Talent Resources has been someone that I've worked with not only when I was in the NFL, but even with the marketing efforts that we're doing here locally in Fresno. So that's been my team. Over 7 to 8 people makes up my marketing and branding team, but they've done a great job, but there's still a lot of work left to be done. And
So, one of the things that we talked about, and, Devon Kennard was on here talking about, personal brand and how that translated, what he wanted to do after football. Talk a little bit about how important it was, because you've always had a really good personal brand. Again, you were very close to the community in Pittsburgh, Coach
right.
Tomlin and all those guys. How was that like building your own personal brand going into the NFL, but then after, how it helped to support these dreams and what you've been able to build?
Right, and a lot of what I've done, man, kind of just happened organically. And knowing what I know now, I probably would have built my brand even more when I was playing. But man, my whole purpose has always been to give back to my community and uplift youth that are growing up in similar situations as myself, to not just see themselves as athletes, but see themselves as leaders and people that can make a difference in their community. So that was always my mantra every offseason throughout the NFL, was to come back to my hometown and help uplift the next generation. But I didn't even know that I was going to be developing a school,
Right.
especially the school that I've developed until 2019, 2020. When I really sat down and figured out my true purpose in life. But it wasn't like I was trying to just build something to get to this point that I'm at
Right.
right now. It was really just me trying to be my best self on a daily, man. And that ultimately helped me get to my ultimate purpose, which was founding this school and helping people in the planet thrive. But it was all just organically built, to be honest with you.
Well, but I think that's what's important though, right?
Hmm.
So people talk a lot about when it comes to brands and organizations, whatever it might be, right? It's all about authenticity. And like that's
Yep.
what I would genuinely say is, since I've known you, like you were always very proud of your hometown, always
Yep.
like wanting to give back and help out. And so like it's authentic. Like, and I think when
Absolutely.
you went to school boards, when you were giving your pitch presentations, all that, like it came through. It's not like you were trying to do this to make money. It wasn't some,
Right.
big grab in the community. It was always who you were about. So I think it just,
For sure.
authenticity is really important, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, especially when you're building a brand or you're looking for people to support the mission and vision and purpose of whatever it is that a brand is going after, it has to be authentic, because you can only fake it for so long. And once you get tired of faking it, it's like the people that you have brought on board and the people that is following your progress, what happens to them if the leader gets tired of it, you know? So, for me, man, it was truly just being able to live in purpose that has made branding and doing what I do very easy to continue to do. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So, when you talk about now you got new kids coming in and everything
Yeah.
like that, where do you see that going as far as like it's right now, what are the grade levels?
Yeah, we transitional kinder through 7th grade, but
Okay.
ultimately the goal is to take this all the way to 12th grade. So we've
Okay.
been growing a grade from transitional kinder through third ever since 2021, and now we're up to 7th grade. And next year we'll welcome eighth and continue to take it on all the way up to high school, man. But as I mentioned earlier, my goal isn't just to do this in my community, but is really to shift the paradigm of education across the nation. And I see myself being able to go to any zoo that is looking to do a zoo school and let the zoo be utilized as an extended learning laboratory to give children an opportunity to see all of the things that they can do to support not only conservation, but environmental stewardship. So we've had a lot of fruitful conversations with other zoos that are looking to aspire to do the similar things, but that's been my goal from the get-go, was to transform what education looks like, and we're on our way to doing that. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's incredible. I think, we talk about it a lot just in general today in terms of jobs
Mhm.
and things like that that are going on. It's like the more and more specialized things are getting, like the old school way of thinking of like, you need to know math and this and,
Yep.
history of that. Like, again, all those things are important to a certain point. But
Yep.
it's like, if you are interested in the environment, you're interested in art, or you're interested in, like, go specialize in that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, there's just so much technology available to us that that rudimentary, baseline, everybody gets the same education is kind of out the window, if in my opinion.
Yeah. Nah, man, I think, when we talk about the zoo, people think about the zoology and the biology aspect of things, but man, a zoo is a small city in itself. And
Yeah.
there are so many different occupations that are tailored to not only working at a zoo, but running a zoo. And when you talk about our approach being through environmental ed and environmental stewardship, environmental literacy, like every single job in the future is going to need to have some type of sustainability or
Right.
environmentally cautious person working in that space. I mean, we look at podcasts now and the opportunities to connect virtually. When back in the days, people would have to actually fly to
Right.
sit down and be in the same space or something of that nature to do something like this. But to be more environmentally aware, where I don't have to get on a plane and you don't
Right.
have to get on a plane, but we can still get the mission accomplished through all of these different technologies out there, man. That is a form of being environmentally cautious as well too. So I think different career occupations is going to lend itself to give people opportunities to step into those spaces and make their organizations better with a more environmentally cautious person in there. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, I mean that's 100% right. I think there's definitely, whether it's like your chief environment officer, your sustainability officer, or
Yep.
whatever, those are
Yep.
roles that very much exist in all companies moving forward, right? Like,
Absolutely.
the biggest tech companies have whole teams that are dedicated to that. So
Absolutely.
I think that's a great point. I was gonna say, so, as we talk about the differences of now where you're at and where you used to be, and
Hmm.
some of, big business versus education, nonprofit, et
Yep.
cetera. What's that been like in terms of, getting that support and being able to, again, to market or message or brand you guys selves while having to, it is education. It is, I mean, not necessarily nonprofit. Are you guys nonprofit?
We are nonprofit.
Okay.
Yep.
So I'll end up cutting that. But so
Yep.
when you talk about, nonprofit versus big business, things like that, what's that like in terms of, doing all of your events, activities, marketing, things like that when it is a
Yep.
nonprofit, right? I think there's a lot of people out there, at least in my audience, I know there's people that do nonprofit work. They'd be super
Yep.
curious to hear about, what's worked, what's been hard, things like that
Yep.
around the nonprofit community.
Yeah, man. I think whenever you're talking about nonprofit work, obviously it is something that is out there to serve a bigger purpose rather than just serve an individual. And I think whenever your dreams or whenever your purpose is bigger than you, it's easier to sell, it's easier to get people on board, and it's easier for people to get ownership of what it is that the nonprofit is seeking to do. I think
Right.
for us, we have been able to not only leverage how we're looking to change what education looks like, but I've also been able to leverage some contacts that I've had from my previous journey. I've also been able to leverage my experience on what I envisioned this to ultimately look like. I didn't get into this work to do things the way that it's always been done.
Right.
So when we talk about doing fundraising events, when we talk about raising funds to help, benefit our community. It's bigger than just education. This is about people. This is about the planet. This is about helping everyone thrive because that is something that we all need as people. We need shelter, we need water, and we need the basic essential things to thrive. And that is ultimately what our mission is. So we really try to figure out how can we get people to not buy in, but really take ownership of what it is that we're seeking to do. And we don't do it the traditional cookie cutter way. We have a good time doing it.
Yep.
We provide world class experiences for kids, and the community gets to reap the benefits from the work that the kids get to go out in the community and do on a daily basis. So it's been fun. It's been great. And I think that's what you have to make it when you're doing nonprofit work to make the vision come alive is you got to reinvent the wheel and do things uniquely different. that are going to separate you from other nonprofits that are out there. And we've done a pretty good job at that. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you guys see the content all the time, right? And it's the
Yeah.
kids are always having fun, always smiling. Like, I'm sure
Yeah.
there's good days and bad, like anything, but
For sure.
it seems like there's just a lot of people that are really inspired, really motivated. The whole community seems to be really involved.
Yeah.
But talk about maybe some of the hardships, right? I know you guys
Yeah.
had a couple hangups with local government, or I
Yeah.
forget there was maybe somebody that filed a petition or didn't want you guys to get your
Yeah.
license or whatever. So tell us
Yeah.
a little bit more about that and kind of how you navigated some of the struggles to get here.
Yeah, man, it's been a journey, but I think anything that's worth having doesn't come easy. Making $10 million isn't going to be easy. You got to put some work in and some dedication, and you got to fight, resistance with persistence. And that's something that, I've been doing pretty much my whole life, man, coming
Yep.
in as an undrafted free agent to the NFL and having to fight and claw and do whatever I had to do to make the team. It's kind of something that I've been able to transition from not only the NFL, but bring it into my everyday life now, man. And obviously, whenever you're trying to do something great, it comes with hate. And we experienced a lot of that, not only from a bureaucracy standpoint, but from a political standpoint. When it comes to public education. And one of the things that I always knew to be true is that when the mission and the vision is bigger than you, it can't be stopped. So,
Yep.
but that's with anything, any business that is out there that is trying to do something or take it to another level, there's always going to be opposition. But the end that we have in the golden rule is never quit. And that is just something that I stood on from day one. One of the great things that Coach Mike Tomlin always told us was don't blink in the face of adversity. And he's like, look adversity dead on in the face and know that you're going to overcome it. So whenever I am faced with opposition, whether it's building out the school, whether it's getting my chartered petition, whether it's building a whole $25 million facility right now, I understood that there was going to be opposition, but I smiled in the face of adversity. And at the end of the day, I ended up on the other side. We
Yep.
won, and now we're building the first $25 million facility for sustainability that exceeds Title 24 right here in Fresno, California. So I'm excited about that. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's fantastic, man. So talk a little
Yeah.
bit more about what that means now, right? So you said you've
Yeah.
been going to the zoos, you have your own kind of facility right now, but
Yeah.
this $25 million project is basically creating a home, right? So I think this is
Absolutely.
going to be a huge inflection point also for you. Like you said, if you're going like nationally, it's going to be a
Yeah.
huge like, hey, we have done this now and we could
Yeah.
do this in every other state, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's the goal. I mean, when we talk about shifting the paradigm of education, it's not just education, but it's community transformation as well, too, because you can't really give a child a world-class educational opportunity if the environment isn't conducive to growth. And one of the things that is exciting about bringing this project to the city of Fresno is that we decided to place a $25 million facility in a community that has been underserved and neglected for over 50 years.
Hmm.
So you have a $25 million facility that's surrounded around homes that were built in the 1920s. So this community also is one of the most impoverished areas on the census tract in the state of California. So when we talk about transformation, it is this. It is coming inside communities, giving them a world-class educational experience, but also putting a state-of-the-art facility inside of that community. And with that, here comes your commercial development. Here comes your economic development. Here comes a lot of other things that comes with putting a significant investment like that inside of a community that's been marginally forgotten about. So I think our efforts, not only does it gives us the blueprint on how to do it, but it does give us that certification as well too, that these guys have been there and done that, and we want to do something like this in our community
Absolutely. Well, I think, and
next.
again, so going back on the marketing piece of it, it's like
Yep.
you're gonna have to create somewhat of a rinse and repeat, some messaging, some ability
Yep.
to like, if you said you want to do this nationwide, it's
Yep.
gonna have to be something that you can be repeatable in other states. So talk a little about that as well, because again, Fresno is a unique area, right?
Right.
But they're not to say like, oh, you can only do this in places like, again, like Detroit or,
Yep.
some of the smaller kind of, more industrial type cities, right?
Yep.
The idea is you should be able to do this anywhere in San Diego, in LA, in New York, and
Right.
you know what I mean? So talk a little about that and what it's going to be like, or some of the challenges you might foresee in going outside of Fresno.
Yeah, well, when we talk about Fresno, man, we got to understand that, Fresno is at least 10 years behind LA. I feel LA is at least 10 years behind New York. So,
Right.
essentially, Fresno is about 20 years behind
Right.
when it comes to being new and innovative with ideas. So, the simple fact that we've been able to do this in a community that isn't really conducive to growth, if you will. That has been a testament of us having to leap over many hurdles to get it
Yeah.
to this point. But you talk about putting a state of the art facility inside of Los Angeles or in New York City. Like this is something that always gets done.
Yeah.
Phoenix, Arizona, Scottsdale, like there's
Yeah.
new construction. You see cranes everywhere you
Everywhere.
drive in
Yeah.
those type of cities. You're not seeing cranes like that in the city of Fresno, but to be able to do it here, we've probably experienced all the bureaucracy that comes with public education and developing state of the art facilities. So not only has this experience of being able to do it in this small town has given us wisdom moving forward, but it's also given us things to prepare for as we get ready to go into new cities and new environments. So the goal is to continue to push out our marketing efforts on a national level. So when we do come into these cities and we
They're
are
familiar.
interacting
Yeah.
with zoos and different land trusts, they know we've been there and done that, and
Yep.
hopefully they receive us with open arms and roll the red carpet out for us versus the carpet we experienced when we started developing here in Fresno.
Very good, very good.
Yeah.
Well, so that's exciting too, in the sense
Hmm.
that you're getting to do everything for the first time, right? Like
Yep.
all of this. So you're basically taking a ball clay and you're molding it,
Yep.
which is a unique opportunity that a lot of us don't get, right? Like
For sure.
I go into clients and they, they're a aesthetics business or
Yep.
anti-aging or, well, there's a bunch of them out there already. So now you're having
Right.
to disrupt an industry that already exists. Well,
Right.
you guys are basically the trailblazers. So talk a little bit about that, because that has to play into like your whole, again, marketing strategy and how you're building
Yep.
out your brand and your presence, because you get to go tell everybody or be the trailblazer for how this is going to be.
Absolutely, and I think that's a benefit, and it's also can be a challenge as
A
well
lot of
too.
pressure.
Yeah, a lot of pressure. And then, especially when you talk about doing education different than what has been done for centuries of time, now you got to find the right educators who are not stuck in their ways, but are open to doing things from a more environmental, place-based UDL
Yep.
type of approach. So selling the thinking outside of the box to educators, sometimes that's a hard challenge to do, but then sometimes it's easy because a lot of times educators want to think outside the box.
Right.
But for us, to be able to have this experience that we have on developing schools, and not just schools, but now facilities for school, those are something that's kind of been new to us, but we also have a lot of experience in similar sectors, whether it be education, helping with education consultancies, developing out programs, or whether we have our team that we work with over at the Blueprint, formerly known as Pacific Charter School Development, who does facility development. So I always knew that to be a leader, you don't have to know everything, but you got to have people around you
Right.
that specialize in certain areas. And I think that's what I've done a great job at, is just assembling a team to really be able to help support the mission and vision to grow it to the level that we want to have it at. That's for sure.
Well, I think something that's super important in this also, and again, when you're out there getting your message out and building,
Mhm.
creating content, all this kind of stuff, is like the culture and the vibes and the,
Absolutely.
what is it like there, right? So the idea for you, I think, when you say, hey, we got to have people that are on board and people that
Yep.
are, willing to think outside the box. Talk a bit about, and again, obviously the Steelers have had an incredible culture for the
Right.
entire history of their organization, especially since
Right.
Coach Tomlin's been there. But talk about like how that translates to like success, because obviously you had that culture in Pittsburgh. Then you
Yep.
come and you're doing this, and you've created one hell of a culture with the
Yep.
teachers, the students, like
Yep.
everybody involved, the partners. So how
Right.
important is that? And then as you again build kind of your message and your content, and all that, it makes it easy, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think for me, being in the NFL environment, and seeing how a general manager and how a head coach not only assembles a team, but you got to think a head coach is dealing with a 53-man roster. That's 53 different personalities
Right,
that is inside of a locker room that you got to keep control over. And then from a coaching standpoint, their peers and the assistant coaches. You got to monitor those different personalities. So I think the greatest lessons that I've learned from playing in the NFL and being able to transition what I've learned from the NFL to the school development now is people management. That's one of the biggest challenges, but also one of the biggest assets that I feel I bring to the culture that we've been able to do is not only be able to manage people, but get the right people on the bus and put them in the right seats has been something that I've been able to do very successfully here at Golden Charter Academy. And I think once you get right people in positions to be able to thrive in what they do best, not only does that create a great work environment for our team, but if there's a great work environment for the team, then the kids get to
right.
reap the benefits of that from coming to a work full of or coming to a school full of people that are energetic, bring positivity, looking to uplift them and motivate them to be the best person that they can be. Whenever you can create an environment like that, man, it's usually setting you up for success. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's super important, especially with kids, right? Is I'd been to summer camps, I've been a
Yep.
counselor at summer camps, like all that. It was about the energy you brought. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You don't think about it, but like they're looking at you all the time. Like, are you happy?
Yep.
Are you sad? Are
Yep.
you? And they're gonna match your energy. So that's something that's super important. And that was kind of leading to my next thing is
Yep.
all the content and stuff. It seems like you guys are high energy. There's always stuff going
Yep.
on. There's always events. There's always things to keep the kids engaged. But talk a little bit about what that's like because you are, presumably you got a videographer or something that's constantly around like making
Right.
content. But then like there has to be that happy medium of like, yo, but we are in school, right? So like
Yep.
enough cameras, enough. So like how do you manage that?
Yep.
And then also too with the kids, right? It's a distraction. Technology today with kids is,
Yep.
I mean, God, between the phones and the iPads, the social media, the
Right. Right. Yeah. And I think for us, what we're doing is we're not only shifting what education looks like, but we're shifting what the community looks like. And that's a big piece of our work is the environmental stewardship component of it. So
right.
when we are, having this content, whether our kids is up at Yosemite National Park or they're out there doing a river cleanup at the San Joaquin River, like,
Yep.
yeah, these are messages that we want to highlight and amplify because it's bigger than just education. These are planet protectors, if you will, and they are trying to figure out how they can not only elevate their environment, but how can we get other people to understand what it means to have conservation or be a steward of the planet. I think one of the things and that we have been able to successfully do is educate our community about what environmental stewardship means. And, we have families that never recycled or never did composting, and now they are recycling cans and goods and turning it in. And those are some of the kids' allowances where they get to
That's
put
awesome.
some money in their pocket that they wasn't able to do before they heard about Golden Charter Academy. So when it comes to being inside of the classrooms or when it comes to learning, that is something that we are definitely making sure is happening inside of the classrooms. We have to because we're a
Yep.
public school. But when it comes to the environmental stewardship component of it, the place-based education component of it, or the celebratory component of celebrating kids and their successes from learning. That is something that we definitely want to highlight and create that environment to let families know if they enroll their kids at Golden, they're going to get a Golden experience. And
Very
that's
good.
something that's been taking place over the last 5 years. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so that being said, what is on the horizon now? What do you got coming up and what can we look forward to at Golden Charter Academy?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think right now, it's been project management for me over these last several months. We broke ground on this new facility back in March of this year. So completion is set to be done in June of 2026. So that is right around the corner. We're really less than a year away from being able to cut the ribbon on this facility and welcome over 550 kids
Wow.
at this school. So excited about that. Obviously, we are having very fruitful conversations with other zoos right now that are looking to do very similar things, and that has been exciting in itself. But my ultimate goal is to be able to go back to the city of Pittsburgh and also go back to the city of Phoenix and give them the opportunity to do something like this, just because of the nature of how much the state of Arizona, and also the city of Pittsburgh, how much they gave to me and how much it's been a positive contributor to my efforts in life. My goal is to be able to go back and give back to those communities as well
That's
too.
awesome.
So I having some conversations there, and I'm excited for what's going to come in the very near future for those locations. That's for sure.
Very good, man. Well, we're really excited about that. Is there anything else we didn't touch that you wanted to cover?
No, man, but I think people can continue to track our progress and follow what we're doing. Not only on our Instagram, that's one of the things that we're one of the most social platforms that we're highly active on is Instagram. They can find us at goldencharteracademy.org, or they can look us up on our website at goldencharteracademy.org, or they can check out my personal profile, which I try to keep the latest and greatest things that is happening on there, and that's Golden Boy 21. Take the O out the boy, put a 021, and they'll get in contact with me. That's
We'll
for
flash
sure.
that up there on the screen for you.
No doubt.
Cool, man. Well, I appreciate it. It's always a great time to connect and reconnect, if you will. But
No doubt.
dude, super happy for you. I think your journey, your mission's incredible.
No doubt, bro.
Obviously, always been proud to call you a friend, but I appreciate you coming on and taking the time with me, brother.
No doubt, my brother, man. We'll connect in person soon, and
Yes.
looking forward to seeing the episode get launched for sure.